beta? Okay, this is a recap session of note making. I've given a detailed explanation earlier also and yesterday also. Today we are going to revise it all over again, what note making is, and please ensure that you jot down these points because they're very important. The format should be clear to you, then only you'll be able to make notes, right? So please, Akshat, start reading.
Read the passage carefully. Give a heading to your work. The heading will be based on the following considerations. What is the main idea of the passage? Frame a headline based on the main idea. Write it in the middle of the page. Give subheadings. How has the main idea been presented and developed? Are there two or three subordinates, associated ideas? Frame subheadings based on these. Points are to be noted under each subheading. Are there further details or points of the subtitles that you wish to keep in these notes? These are called points. Points may have subpoints. All subheadings should be...
Just a second, please. Just a second. The main idea is the main point which you make, right? And if it has something in which it consists of, that is a subpoint, right? The main point, the subpoint, and if subpoint further has something which you need to tell, that is a subpoint. So if the first point is, if the point is point number 1, the subpoint will be 1.1 and subpoint will be 1.1.1, right? So on it continues. Please continue further.
All subheadings should be at a uniform distance from the margin. Intending. Points should also be at the same distance away from the margin. Do not write complete sentences. Abbreviations should be used. Help with abbreviations. Use standard
Okay, just give a pause. Akshay, just a minute, please. See, children, you have to keep in mind what is the purpose of note making. As I've discussed this thing with you, note making, the purpose of note making is that when somebody is telling you something in detail, whether it's in the form of a lecture or it's in the form of any elaborative discussion is going on, you cannot jot down, you cannot, as per human tendency, you cannot grab each and every sentence and each and every word of what is being told. So in order to keep it in your memory, in order to recall it afterwards, it's a general practice which I think all the scholars, all the students, they generally perform. They jot down few important lines in short form, because verbal language is verbally, when we talk, the pace is much high than written, than being when we are writing it, right? So in order to catch up what the speaker is saying, we jot it down in the form of notes. The first and foremost thing which you need to keep it in your mind is that notes are always precise. They're not in elaborative forms. So never, complete sentences are never ever used in note making. You have to use phrases or incomplete sentences, we can say, right? We can use abbreviations and symbols in note makings, and we can omit prepositions and articles in it. So all these things you have to keep in your mind. And next important thing is about indent in numbering. Indent here refers to the distance should be properly maintained. There's a format. I mean, point number 1 you're starting, then the subpoint when you're rewriting 1.1, that has to be exactly beneath the initial letter of the sentence or written above, right? So 1.1, if the first point number 1 starts with the boy, then the 1.1 should be, the number 1.1 should be written exactly below the T of the. That is the way it is done, right? And you need to ensure that sentences are not complete, right? Now let's check out the abbreviations which we use in note making. Akshat, please continue.
Use standard abbreviations and symbol as far as possible. Capitalize the first letter of the name of states, countries, or organizations. For example, UP, USA, UK, and UNO. Common abbreviations: SC dot for science, MR for Mr., MRS for Mrs., DR doctor, GOVT government, BSc Bachelor of Science.
Okay. Now these symbols we know we have been using, like that is example, RX, positive, negative. Arrows are shown leading to, rising, falling, equal to, greater than or lesser than. Measurement in figures like 100, 100 written this way, 100 kg, 100 mm, and 100 ml. So we can also make our own abbreviations, but then they should not be weird. And I have told you this thing, kindly do not use abbreviations which you people generally use at your social media platform, because they are actually deteriorating the language, and we do not use HRU for how are you in note making. That's just your WhatsApp language. So kindly keep this thing in your mind. Please continue further.
Make your own abbreviations. Keep the main sound of the word. It is good practice to keep the first few of the last letter and of the word such as education. Retain the
Yes,
suffix.
education we can write as, just a second, education we can write as edu apostrophe n. Developing we can write as dev apostrophe ing. Just like we also write, we do not write I have, we write I apostrophe ve, right? Or you have, you apostrophe ve, ha is omitted. So such things are generally used in your note making. Kindly continue.
Retain the suffix to that letter you are going over the notes. You may recall the full form of the word. Take the following caution. Do not get over enthusiastic about abbreviations. You should not abbreviate every word. One abbreviation is 1 point is enough. As a general rule, the heading should not be abbreviated. You may use abbreviations in subheadings. Your notes should look like this.
Now this format is very important. Please jot it down in your notebook. This exam, you people have made blunders in note making. In the coming exam, I do not want you, even one of you, to make a mistake in note making. This is the way we write the notes. Subheading, point, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And in case you have a sub point, then it will be 1.3.1, 1.3.2. Please check how it is written. Exactly under the letter, and the initial letter of the first point, 1.1 number is written, right? And if it has a sub point, you can see exactly under the P, 1.3.1 is written. So please note down this format. It is very crucial. It's very important. Otherwise, you lose marks. I hope each one of you is writing it down.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to see this time also in your notebooks, most of you have not done note making. I want to see this format in your notebook. Otherwise, I'll be deducting marks for your notebooks. Chaliye, please continue, Akshay.
Notice that intended that a shift from the margin has been used to clearly indicate subheadings, points, and subpoints. Subheadings, though separated by points, occur below one another. Similarly, points and subpoints should also come below one another. Such use of indentation gives you notes a visual character. At a glance, you can see the main idea.
Just a second. Just wait for a moment, please. Please continue.
At a glance, you can see the main idea and its various aspects. Numbering. You may follow any system, but you should be consistent. That is, you should follow the same system throughout. Same examples are given below.
You may follow any system, but we are not going to follow any system. We are just going to follow this system only. Please, I do not want to deviate from this particular format. This is prescribed by CBSE, so I want to go with this one. Kindly keep it in your mind.
Writing a summary.
Just a
Abbreviation.
second, wait. Numbering we have done. You have to start with the abbreviations.
Abbreviations. Notes making in an informal exercise as it means meant for your use only. You will not present a formal document in formal form. In note form. Notes will be developed into a more formal piece of writing. Since notes are informal and are meant for your use only, you can abbreviate long words or use accepted abbreviations and symbols. Writing a summary. The summary is an abstract of the passage. Expand your heading and subheading and write down the ideas developed in the passage in the specified word limit.
Okay. Now the first part is making notes, underlining the abbreviations, maintaining the indenting and numbering, right? Ensuring that you're writing phrases, not complete sentences, highlighting or underlining the abbreviations, fine? Omitting prepositions and articles. Now, the second part of the question, this was the first part, which consisted of all these things where you have to make notes. The second part is writing summary. Please keep all these things in your mind. And one important thing which we need to keep it in our mind is that summary is never made from the passage given. Summary is always made from the notes which you have made, right? Please continue writing a summary.
Writing a summary. The summary is an abstract of the passage. Expand your heading and subheadings and write down the ideas developed in the passage in the specified word limit.
Okay, fine. Now let's do one example. We can give a pause here